Hi, this is Paul Zimmer from the Dance Demos channel. Today we're going to talk about how to legally distribute cued music to your students. We're big proponents of providing cued music to our students. We think it's a powerful tool for retaining dancers. We all know how difficult it is to recruit new dancers, and we need to do anything we can to keep them. Practice, which requires cued music, will help make them more successful faster, so they'll keep coming back. We think this is a very important point. Expectations these days are sky high. People expect to be able to learn a new skill quickly and easily, and cued music will help them do so. So, how are we going to do this? YouTube. Now, whenever we talk about using YouTube to distribute music, we always get questions about copyrights. So I want to take a second to explain how copyrights work on YouTube. YouTube software automatically detects copyrighted music. Then YouTube contacts the copyright holder, most just have a default policy, who can choose to block the video in whole or in part in any countries they want, or they can monetize the video, meaning they get the money from the ads that YouTube shows. Most choose to monetize. In fact, of the more than 400 videos on the Dance Demos channel, only a handful have ever been blocked, and most of these involve music from just two bands, the Beatles and the Eagles. But we found that cover versions exist of most of these songs, which are monetized, not blocked. It's important to note that we're posting as ordinary YouTube users. This has nothing whatsoever to do with your RoundaLab license. This is something anybody can do. But how can we utilize YouTube to distribute cued music? YouTube deals with videos, not audios. So we're going to create a dummy video containing our audio and just a simple slide. But first you have to have the cued music in an electronic form such as .mp3 or .wav. If you don't already have recorded cues, we have a video to show you how to record cues using just your PC and a cheap podcast mic. We think it's important to have a permanent setup for doing this because if you have to pull out your cueing microphone and your mixer and hook it all up every time, you won't want to do it very often. But if you have a permanent setup, it's quick and easy to record cued music. Or you may already have your cues recorded for Dance Master or Dance Wizard, but they're in a separate file. Well, we have a video for you to show how to create an MP3 file from that. Links to both of these videos are in the description field below the video on YouTube. Okay, so now you've got your split channel MP3 file or WAV file. Now we need to create that video. So what you'll need before you start, a Google account, Gmail account. YouTube is owned by Google, so every Google account comes automatically with a YouTube account. You'll need the split channel MP3 or WAV file that we just created, and you'll need a title for your video. That's it. Now, let's get started. After much research, I recommend you ignore the free versions of the commercial video editors and instead go with Wide.video. It's kind of a hobby project. The creator got frustrated with the commercial options available and created his own browser-based video editor, then shared it with the world. As it runs entirely in the browser and doesn't store any files online, there's no login required, and he doesn't have to pay for cloud storage services, so there are no upgrade plans either. And as of February 2025, he's still actively adding features. So unlike similar personal projects I found, it clearly hasn't been abandoned. So we're going to go to Wide.video. Let's go. Open a project. Now this is the folder on your computer where it's going to store the files for your project. So I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it Work It for Beat of Your Heart. Work It is the old name for practice sequences. I'm going to select that folder. I'm going to tell it it's allowed to look at the files. It's allowed to save the changes there. So here we are at the main interface. If you've never seen a video edited before, I'll give you a quick tour. So the most important thing is this thing down here. It's called the timeline. And you can see there's a track on there now, and you add tracks going down like this, and the tracks get layered on top of each other in the final video. This is an area we'll use it in a minute where your media files go. This is a preview, which shows you what the video looks like at a particular time, and you can play the video from there. And this is clip-specific information. Clips are the things that are down on here. So let's start by adding our audio. So you can see it's 4 minutes and 33 seconds long. I can just click it and then drag it down here to the beginning of that available timeline. And now it's on the timeline. So if I hit play now, it'll just start playing my audio. So I'm going to go back to time 0. And now I'm going to add the dummy text slide. So for that, I say Media, Add Text. I'm going to add it on a new layer, and I'm going to have it start at the current time. And I create the clip. See, it popped it down here. Here's the text. And I type in my name of my video here. Now that's what next thing I want to do is I want to select this and then grab the corners to spread it out. So here it is on the timeline. So if I go to the beginning and start playing, I have my title and then it goes away at the end of this. So what I want to do, I'll explain this later in the video. What I want to do is I want to make my video is actually 10 seconds longer than the audio clip that it contains. So to do that, I have to get the pull bar. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to zoom down until I can see the pull bar. Then I grab it and I start making it longer. Now I need to zoom out again so I can see the end of the clip. Now remember, that was 4:33, so I want to go drag this out to 4:43. Watch the yellow text there on the preview window. I get it to about there, and that's good enough. So you can see it's a little bit longer. Now, one thing that's unusual about this particular video editor, it has this little bar here, which is the end of video bar. Most video editors, the video ends when the last clip ends. And on this one, you can actually put dummy space out the end. So be careful to make sure that's at the end of your title slide. So now we're actually done. We could export it, but I'm going to show you one more thing, because in the original video, I had black on white text, and right now I've got white on black. So if I have this thing selected, I go here to Style, Color and Stroke. Color, this is the color of the text, and I go down here in the black corner where it's all zeros. I grab the background color, and I go up here where it's 255, get all white, turn the white on, and now I have black on white. So now we're ready to export it. So we do Project, Export, Export. Now this is going to take a while, so we'll come back when it's done. When it's done, it'll start playing. I'm going to pause it, and then I say Save As. Choose where you're going to put it. Now notice here it's creating it as a some magic name .mp4. If you change that name like I'm going to, be very sure that you add the .mp4 or your computer won't know what kind of file it is. And that's it. Okay, now let's upload that video. So we're going to go to studio.youtube.com. This is the actual channel page for QuickStart Dance, our teaching group. You can see the name right here. If you're curious how we get that name, there's a video on that. To do the upload, we'll go over here and say Create, Upload Videos. Select the file, grab the MP4, and start the upload. Now while it's uploading, it's going to let us start filling in things. So I can edit the title here if I want to, edit the description, blah, blah, blah. Now the thumbnail we'll come back to, because when it finishes processing, it'll have a thumbnail for us. Playlists. So what we do for our classes is we create a playlist for each class. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to create a playlist. I'll call it Class Example. Make it public, or you can make it unlisted. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll make it unlisted and create it. Done. Now it's on that. Go on to next. We'll come back to the end screens. Next, next. So private versus unlisted versus public. Public is what it sounds like. It means it's out there and anybody can search for it, find it in Google or in YouTube search. Unlisted means nobody can find it by search. Instead, you'll have a link that you can send to your students. Your students can then use the link to watch it, but if they pass that link to somebody else, those people can watch it too. Private means you get to create a list of exactly who can watch the video. Now, we use unlisted. I've had some trouble using private, but if you have success with it, good for you, and let me know how it worked. So now I'm going to hit save. And close. So if I go over here to content, I'll see the video. Now there's a couple things I want to point out here. First of all, let's finish the editing of it. So if I go down here, I get the edit button. So now you can see it chose this as the thumbnail. And as you become more sophisticated with the tools, you can create a better thumbnail, but it's going to pick my title as its default thumbnail. Now let's go down here to end screen. Now end screen is what you see after the video finishes. Remember, I left about 10 seconds extra of time with just the title and no music at the end. And that's because at the end, when it finishes playing, I can tell it to point to another video. I can have it point to the playlist. So for example, here, I'm going to tell it to point to the playlist for that class. So now when it finishes playing, it'll pop up this, and you can change when that appears. You can grab this and change exactly when it appears and so forth. Okay, we'll go back to channel content because I want to show you something else. So you can see visibility partially blocked copyright. So it contains copyrighted material. We know that. We put the music in it. So let's look at this details of the copyright. So you can see here it says not affected. This content copyright claim does not affect the visibility. It's blocked in particular territories. You can see what the song was that it detected. We can't monetize it. The copyright owner's SME, and the copyright owner is blocking it in Russia. So that's how the copyright works. Okay, so it's up there, ready to go. If I click these three dots, I can get shareable link. And if I then go over and open an email, compose, I can paste it in there, and I can send that to my students, and they get the link to the video. So that's pretty much it. I do have a little bit more here I can show you. So what if you want to add the dance demos video to your class playlist? Well, I'll go over here to dancedemos.com. Go to practice it. And we'll just pick one. First time waltz, how's that? We'll stop it there. I go to save, and then I can save it to a list, class example, for example. And now if I go back here to my content, playlists, class example, you can see there are two videos on it now. And there they are. So it's easy to add videos from Dance Demos channel or any place on YouTube into that playlist. By the way, you can reorder it by saying edit in YouTube here. And then I can say, well, I want that one first. Just that easy. Notice that the playlist has a shareable link too. If I go back to the channel content playlist and click the three dots, I can get shareable link and pass that playlist link to my students as well. So while you're here, I want to show you something else. So if we go back here to these playlists, you can see this is a real playlist from a real class. So this was a 4-week chalk class we taught. Each day's lesson has a review. So this is us actually teaching the step.
Cover onto the other
you can
foot.
See we're talking about how to do it. And in addition to that, there'll be one of us demoing it at a sort of a middling speed where we're actually dancing it. And then we'll have these no video ones. So I'll usually give them at least one slow. So here it is, their sequence, which on day one isn't very long. Fenceline, New Yorker, spot turn. At Pontoon It, which is 96 beats per minute, which is nice and slow. And then I'll give them one at Havana at 116 beats per minute. So that's kind of my usual package for each lesson is I give them the explanation of the step, and then I give them a video of us dancing it, and then a couple of videos, one slow, one fast, of the cued music, just the way I just demonstrated. One other thing I'll point out here, see the MCLCR right? That's music left, cues right. This thing down here is music and cues left, beat assist right. So beat assist is a thing that I came up with where I actually created by tapping a pencil on the microphone. I go back and dub it in, but it basically does a boom tick tick sound for whatever the beat is. So cha-cha, I found it doesn't work very well to go boom, tick, 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 tick. Just giving them the 4, boom, tick, 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 boom, tick, tick, tick. But it's different for every rhythm, but it allows people to, if they have trouble with the beat, they can turn this up. I use it in class after they've got the footwork down. Then I slowly turn this up and down to help people stay on the beat. It works really well. If you want access to any of those, just contact me. We feel that review video is particularly valuable because it keeps people from dropping. Even in a 4-week class, there will be people who can't make it for a week. And the danger is they feel like they're just going to fall too far behind and they stop coming. So by having the review video, they can at least feel confident that they've seen it before. They tried it a little bit at home. They might need a little extra practice time in class, but at least they come back. And that's a fairly easy one to make. These other ones, for instance, with us dancing, we redubbed to get clean sound on those. For a lot of you, that's going to be a hard thing to do. But the review video, you can do that with your phone because the quality of the sound doesn't matter much as long as they can understand what you're saying. So that's how you legally distribute cued music to your students. Thanks for listening.